How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen Automotive, which was up 0.74% on the day. I know it's not much, but there's some things we need to take into consideration here. I was actually expecting a lot more from the stock, considering we did have a strong green day inside of the market. But there also are some positives. We'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we're going to be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.36, being up 0.74%. On the low, it tested $1.30, and then on the high, testing $1.39. So when we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 29.434 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 72.619 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, but hey, we saw some consistency in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 35.69. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 50-day. And what you can also notice, Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. One of the good things we got to take away from today, though, we ended up forming a higher low. We ended up testing a low at $1.30. On the previous day, it was around $1.25. So this is a good sign. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was expecting a lot more from Mullen, especially since we saw a lot of strength in the market. So going into tomorrow, where do we want to see Mullen going? So we ended up seeing a high of $1.39. Keep in mind, from the previous day, we had a higher high. So we ended up having a lower high on the day. Again, we want to see some price action at least above $1.50. Most preferably, seeing what we could do when we have some movements above 157. If we can get above 157, then I want to look for that move for us to go, like I was saying yesterday, at $1.82 or $1.81. If we could reclaim the 21-day EMA, even better at $1.86. Is this going to be happening on Friday? I am not seeing it, but if we can have a close at least above $1.50, I think it would set up Mullen well going into next week and then seeing what it could do from there. If we end up having some weakness in the markets though, and we end up breaking through the support at 130, of course we want to see 125 continue to hold like it did on the previous day. And if not, that's where we can start visiting levels around 115. And if 115 breaks, we want to see how well we do around $1.03 or just $1. Now let's go on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for Mullen. So the off exchange short volume ratio is at 18.15%. And then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 4.14 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 4.5 million, updated 2 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate being at 5.67%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 26th, it is at 27.97. And then for the close of the 27th, being at 18.15. So that is a significant decrease right there. But when we take into consideration the short interest percentage of the float, it is at 14.95%. So Mullen does have short squeeze potential, but we could see there has been some short covering since we do see a reduction in the short volume. Now let's go on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we see here on the inflows at
8.23 million, and then on the outflow it's at 8.97 million. So we ended up having an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 5.76, and then on the small it was 2.47. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 6.71, and then on the small it was 2.26. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, April the 28th, we had 0. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, of course we had 0 on both sides. And then taking a look at the turnover ratio being at 10.44%. So this is not too bad for a stock like Mullen. We also did have below average volume on the day. We are seeing a continuation of that. So we didn't see much movement inside of this stock. But we also did end up having a lower high than we had on the previous day. We'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, before we actually start talking about the price action, I want to give you guys the update inside of the after hours. We have a big time dump that is happening inside of the tech sector. We had Amazon that ended up releasing earnings, and it was disappointing, and I saw that they were down 10%. And as far as for Apple, they ended up beating expectations, but again, it is going down and the market is following alongside with it. So we know that Mullen does trade in the tech sector. So it's going to be very interesting going into tomorrow how much of an impact this will have. When I was looking at it inside of the after hours, it was only down like 3 cents. So again, something we want to keep in mind as far as for tomorrow. As far as for the upside, yes, I want to see us being able to close above $1.80. With the way things are looking, I am just not seeing that, especially since we did have a lower high on the day. Unless we get a catalyst or we start having above average buying coming into the play, again, I'm just not seeing that. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we know there are many shorts who are vested in this play. No surprises. They are taking advantage of the environments that we are in. And also we know as far as Mullen is concerned, it was seeing a lot of interest from retail investors and as well as traders. And now that that interest has died down and we have noticed this from how the volume has been declining, shorts are just having fun with it. But we also have to keep in mind, as far as for the short volume, we have seen a significant decrease. So what this means, there could be some covering that is going on. So again, that is one thing we have to continue to pay attention to. And we are still waiting on this update in regards to the Fortune 500 company. I thought we were going to get it sometime this month, but what it looks like, we might be hearing something in May. We also can't forget the fact that Mullen is a growth stock that is not consistently profitable. They don't have any profits at all. So just knowing this and the environments that we are in, and we have a Fed meeting going on for next week, again, the short-term prospects are not looking the greatest. But again, this is a play that can get a lot of attention, especially if they come out with a strong catalyst or we see a lot of momentum coming into the play. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.